I slammed on the brakes too late, the sickening thud echoing like a gunshot in my skull as the pedestrian crumpled against the grille of my Chevy Tahoe. Blood, his blood, splattered the windshield in abstract streaks. But it was my hands that shook hardest, gripping the wheel like it was the only thing tethering me to sanity. In that frozen heartbeat, I made the choice that would chain me to hell. I confessed to manslaughter, swearing under oath that I'd been the one behind the wheel, drunk and reckless, all to shield the man I loved from his own demons. That lie cost me 7 years in Dwight Correctional, a women's lockup in the Illinois flatlands where the wind howls like the ghosts of bad decisions. I was 28 when the accident happened, fresh out of a dead-end marketing gig in Chicago, dreaming of white picket fences with my husband, Mark. He was the golden boy, charming real estate broker with a smile that could sell sand in the Sahara, the kind of guy who made you believe in second chances even when you'd run out of them. We'd met at a rooftop bar in Wrigleyville, him nursing a craft IPA, me spilling red wine on his loafers. 6 months later, we were hitched in a shotgun wedding at City Hall, whispering vows under the shadow of the bean. The night of the crash, we'd been celebrating his latest closing, a lakefront condo in Lincoln Park that netted him a fat commission. Bottles of Malbec flowed like the Chicago River in spring, and by midnight, we were weaving through the Gold Coast, laughing at nothing. Mark had pounded 3 times as many drinks as me, his eyes glassy, foot heavy on the gas. "Come on, Liz. Live a little," he'd slurred, cranking up Springsteen as we barreled down Lakeshore Drive. I was the designated driver, or so I told myself. But when that jogger darted out, some poor bastard in his 40s, earbuds in, chasing endorphins, I wasn't the one who swerved too late. Mark blacked out in the passenger seat, vomit staining his Brooks Brothers shirt, while I stumbled from the wreckage, dialing 911 with fingers that wouldn't stop trembling. The cops arrived like avenging angels, flashers painting the night in crimson and blue. Mark woke up mumbling incoherencies, but I saw the panic in his eyes, the career, the life we'd scraped together, all teetering on the edge. "It was me," I blurted to the first uniform who shone his light in my face. "I was driving. I had too much to drink." They tested me, 0.08 on the dot. Just enough to make it stick, courtesy of that one glass I'd nursed to keep him company. The trial was a circus. Prosecutors painted me as the suburban monster, a wine mom turned killer on the eve of her 30s. Mark sat in the gallery, head bowed, the picture of grief-stricken support. He testified on my behalf, voice cracking as he described my battle with stress drinking, how I'd promised to get help after a rough patch. The jury bought it, 8 women, for men, all nodding solemnly as the judge slammed the gavel. 7 years. Eligible for parole in 5. As they led me away in cuffs, Mark squeezed my hand, whispering, "I'll wait for you, Liz." Forever. His kiss tasted like bourbon and bullshit. Prison was a slow bleed. Dwight's walls were beige despair, the air thick with bleach and regret. I shared a cell with a lifer named Carla, a former nurse who'd OD'd her abusive ex, but botched the dose. She taught me to knit, her needles clicking like Morse code for survival. Days blurred into rec-yard walks, where we'd trade stories under chain-link skies. Mine was always the same: the accident, the confession, the man waiting on the outside. "Fool's gold." That one, Carla would grunt, unraveling a row. "Men like him? They shine till you get close. Then they're fools lead." I got out on good behavior after 5.5. A ghost in gray sweats. clutching a duffel of state-issued clothes. The bus from Joliet dropped me at a Greyhound station in the Loop, where Mark was supposed to meet me. He didn't. Hours ticked by, my phone dead from disuse, until a cabbie took pity and let me charge it at a diner. That's when the texts flooded in, not from him, but from mutual friends, laced with pity emojis and secondhand shock. Mark had remarried. To Jenna, his office manager, a perky blonde half my age who'd been such a rock during my troubled time. Wedding pics splashed across Facebook, him in a tux, beaming under string lights at a vineyard in Door County. Her in lace that screamed money. The comments were a knife twist. So happy for you both after everything. Everything. Like my 7 years were a minor plot point in his redemption arc. I hailed a cab to our old apartment, his apartment now, up on the north side. The doorman recognized me, eyes widening like I'd risen from the dead. Mrs. Hargrove, we thought. He trailed off, buzzing me up without another word. The door was unlocked, a habit Mark never broke. Inside, it smelled of vanilla candles and fresh paint, erasing the ghost of us. Photos lined the mantel. Him and Jenna at the Grand Canyon. Ski trips to Aspen. A sonogram from last month. My stomach churned. Where was my life in this glossy diorama? He came home at 7. Keys jingling. Whistling some Counting Crows tune we used to love. I stepped from the shadows of the kitchen, arms crossed, the parole anklet still humming faintly at my calf. Surprise. Honey, I said, voice steady as a loaded gun. His face drained of color, Scotch tumbler slipping from his fingers to shatter on the hardwood. Liz? Jesus. How? You didn't wait. I cut in, stepping over the glass. Forever's a long time when it's someone else's. He babbled excuses, collapsing onto the couch, hands raking through his hair, still thick, still perfect. Jenna was out of town. Thank God. Some conference in Milwaukee. I tried. Liz. I visited the first year, wrote letters. But you shut down, wouldn't see me. And the guilt. Itate malive. I thought you hated me for letting you take the fall. Letting me. The word hung like smoke. I'd protected him. Swallowed the lie to keep his license, his deals, his freedom intact. In return, he'd built an empire on my ruins, promoted to VP at the firm, featured in Cranes as a rags-to-riches survivor of spousal tragedy. Who was the jogger? Mark? Ever look him up? His eyes darted. The tell I'd forgotten. Guilt's twitch. Some guy. Accountant. Left a wife. 2 kids. David Ruiz, I said softly. The name burned into my brain from the trial transcripts I'd memorized in lockup. Filipino immigrant. Worked doubles at Deloitte to send his daughter to Gilliary. She was 12. Now she's 18, waitressing at a dive in Pilsen because her mom's OD'd on pills. And the boys in juvie for boosting cars. I'd pieced it together from library computers, smuggling printouts back to my bunk. David hadn't just died, he'd unraveled a family. Mark poured another drink, ice clinking like accusations. What do you want? Liz? Money? I can wire you. I want the truth. My voice cracked. The first fracture. Why'd you let me do it? Why not confess? He laughed, bitter and broken. Because I'm a coward. And you? You were always the strong one. My rock. Lies layered on lies. We talked or argued till dawn. Him offering alimony disguised as guilt money, me demanding he tell Jenna, come clean to the cops. By sunrise, he'd agreed to a lawyer. A quiet recantation. For us, he said, pulling me into a hug that felt like quicksand. I let him, because revenge isn't a sprint, it's a marathon through the marrow. But as I slipped out before Jenna's key turned the lock, I swiped his laptop from the coffee table. Password. Our anniversary. Inside, emails unfolded like a house of cards. Mark hadn't just moved on, he'd buried me deeper. Correspondence with a PI firm, dated year 2 of my sentence, confirm Elizabeth's involvement in Ruiz's hit and run. Need ironclad proof she was driving. Impaired. Budget, $50,000. He'd paid to fabricate evidence, witness statements from homeless guys who'd swear I was swerving wild, dashcam enhancements showing my hands on the wheel. The betrayal wasn't passive, it was engineered. A scaffold to prop up his new life. Rage bloomed, hot and holy, in the cab back to the halfway house in Englewood. I had the files now. Digital dynamite. But blowing it up meant blowing myself up too. Parole violations, perjury charges, back to Dwight in irons. No. This needed finesse. Mark was cunning. A chameleon who'd flip from penitent husband to ruthless exec without missing a beat. If I charged in screaming, he'd lawyer up, smear me as the vengeful ex-con. I needed to dismantle him, brick by brick, from the shadows. First move, the PI. A sleazy outfit called Shadowhawk Investigations, holed up in a strip mall off Cicero. I went in posing as a prospective client, all wide-eyed concern about a cheating spouse. The owner, a paunchy ex-cop named Vic Russo, bought the act, bragging about his discreet work over lukewarm coffee. We make problems disappear, sweetheart. For the right price. I nodded, slipping him Mark's name casual-like, watching his Adam's apple bob. By week's end, I'd hacked his email basic phishing, courtesy of a Dwight bunkmate's crash course, and found the originals, unedited dash footage showing Mark's foot on the pedal, his hands limp in his lap. Armed with that, I reached out to David's family. Not a tearful reunion, but a calculated olive branch. I mailed the daughter, Maria Ruiz, an anonymous USB from a library computer in Humboldt Park. Attached note, the truth about your father. Use it wisely. No return address. No fingerprints. She bit. Hard. A week later, my burner phone buzzed. Who are you? This. It's everything. We met in a taqueria off 18th Street, her eyes hard as agate, nursing a horchata while her brother fidgeted with gang tats peeking from his hoodie sleeve. Maria was fire community college dropout turned paralegal, scraping by on righteous anger. You're her, she said. Not a question. The parole news had hit the Sun-Times. My face was mugshot fresh in the crime blotter. The bitch who killed my dad. Guilty, I admitted. No flinch. But not the whole story. I laid it out. The accident. The confession. The fabrication. Proof splayed on the scarred formica. Timestamps. Emails. The dashcam clip looping Mark's oblivious snore as the Tahoe plowed forward. Her brother cursed in Tagalog. Fist clenched, Maria just stared. Calculating. Why now? Why us? Because he took everything from you, I said. And from me. We're even on that score. She didn't forgive, hell. I wouldn't, but alliance formed in the steam of carnitas. Maria had law connections. a pro bono attorney from the Latino Lawyers Association itching for a wrongful conviction case. We plotted. Sue Mark civilly first. Bleed him dry on Ruiz's behalf. Then flip to criminal recantation. Controversial? Sure. Exposing a dead man's killer years late. Using a family's grief as leverage. But justice isn't clean. It's a street fight in the rain. Mark sensed the noose tightening. Calls ramped up. Voicemails laced with that old charm. Liz. Baby. Let's talk. Jenna knows sort of. We can fix this. Fix this. Like I was a leaky faucet. He flipped then. From contrite to cornered. Hiring goons to tail me, amateurs in unmarked sedans. Easy to spot from my lockup-honed paranoia. One night, coming home from my night shift gig at a call center, voicing apologies for delayed Amazon packages. Irony thick as smog. A Lincoln Town car idled at the curb. Vic Russo leaned out. Cigar chomped between teeth. Hargrove says hi. Back off. Or, we make your parole real interesting. Threats lit the fuse. I ghosted the halfway house, crashing on Maria's couch in a walk-up reeking of adobo and ambition. We escalated, leaked the dashcam to a podcaster sniffing Chicago cold cases. True North Wind. Episode dropped mid-October. Mark's name trending on Twitter with Justice for Ruiz. Sponsors pulled from his firm, clients ghosted. He countered slick, press release painting me as unstable. Seeking revenge, anonymous tips to my PO about drug relapse. Parole hearing loomed. A kangaroo court primed to revoke. The climax hit on a sleet-lashed November Eve. All Souls Day fittingly grim. Mark summoned me to the old crash site, Lake Shore Drive Overlook, where David's memorial cross still fluttered ragged ribbons. Endgame. Liz, his text read. I went alone. Glock 19 tucked in my waistband, Maria's brother's gift, untraceable. Heart hammering like a bass drop at Lollapalooza. He waited by the railing. Overcoat flapping. City lights smearing the black water below.
No llene.
No muscle, just us. Two ghosts in the gale. You win, he shouted over the wind. Hands spread like surrender. The firm's done. Jenna's filing. Take the house. The accounts, whatever.
His eyes.
Though shark cold. Calculating the angles. I stepped closer. Rain needling my face. The gun heavy as regret.
Why?
Mark, was it worth it? One night. One swerve. And you buried me alive. He laughed. That hollow bark. You think this is about the accident?
It was always about us. Liz.
You were holding me back, your principles, your nagging about doing right. I confessed in my head 1,000 times. But freedom? That's the American dream. Baby. You took the hit, so I could chase it. The words landed like punches. Betrayal's full bloom. Not just the crash, but the secret he'd chiseled into our marriage from day one. I raised the Glock, barrel kissing his forehead, his breath hitching. On your knees, I whispered. He dropped, mud soaking his Armani slacks, pleading now, real tears. Or the best act yet. Shoot me, and you're back inside. Think of Maria. The kids. Be the hero. Finger on trigger. World narrowed to the pulse in my temples. Pull it, and vengeance tastes sweet. But I'm the monster they always said. Let go, and he slithers free, flipping the script to victim again. The controversial crux, was his life worth more than David's? Than mine? Readers would split, feminists cheering the bullet, conservatives decrying vigilante rot. I hesitated, wind whipping the cross's ribbons like frantic flags. Then the twist. Headlights pierce the squall. Tires crunching gravel. Not cops, Jenna. Stepping from the SUV. Belly swollen under her parka. Maria at her side. Phone live streaming to the podcaster's feed. Mark's flip had been bait. He confessed to Jenna in a panic, begging her to mediate. But Maria, our wild card, had tailed her, turning the trap inside out. Smile for the camera. Mark, Maria called, voice steel. Tell the world who drove. He crumpled, babbling the truth into the lens, drunk. Asleep. Me the scapegoat. No shot fired. Sirens wailed distant, drawn by the stream's viral spike. As cuffs clicked on his wrists, he locked eyes with me. Not hate,
But awe.
you did it. The strong one. Triumph? Bittersweet as burnt toast. Charges stuck, vehicular homicide, perjury,
Fraud.
Mark drew 15. No parole. I walked free. Ruiz suit netting Maria a settlement that funded her law degree. Her brother's rehab. Jenna kept the house, but sold it to ghost us both.
Me?
I started over in Milwaukee. A quiet gig restoring old books at the public library. Fingers inked with forgotten stories. But twice destroyed? The accident took my youth. The revenge took my mercy.
Nights.
I dream of that trigger pull, wondering if resilience is just another word for the scars we wear. David's cross stands yet. A reminder, one fatal swerve. And life's a revenge plot with no clean end. You decide if I won. The halfway house in Englewood was a squat brick bunker. The kind of place where hope checks in but despair overstays. Fluorescent buzzed overhead as I dumped my duffel on the bunk. The communal room a stew of parolees trading war stories over lukewarm ramen. My PO, a no-nonsense Latina named Rodriguez, handed me the rules packet. Curfew at 10, job hunt by week 2, random drug screens. Stay clean. Hargrove, she said, eyeing my file like it was radioactive. You've got one shot.
Clean.
As if soap could scrub the grime of 7 years. That first night, I lay staring at water stains on the ceiling, replaying Mark's wedding pics on my cracked phone screen. Jenna's laugh in the videos, high and bubbly, like champagne froth, twisted the knife. How long had it been brewing? The office manager title. Late nights at closings, the way he dodged my collect calls after year 3. Prison mail is a lifeline. But his tapered off, from love letters to postcards. Then silence. I'd chalked it up to grief. My own fault for stonewalling visits. Stupid. Morning brought the grind. Bus to the temp agency in the Loop, where a bored clerk slotted me for data entry at a warehouse in Little Village. 8 hours clicking spreadsheets. The AC humming like a dirge. My mind elsewhere. Lunch was a bodega sandwich. Turkey on rye that tasted like cardboard. Back at the house, I booted Mark's laptop, borrowed. He'd never notice amid his chaos, and dove into the abyss. The PI emails were the gateway drug. Shadowhawk's invoices detailed surveillance enhancement, code for digital voodoo. But deeper in deleted folders, I unearthed the real rot. Correspondence with David's widow, Elena Ruiz. Mark, ever the opportunist, had reached out post-trial, posing as a sympathetic friend of the family, offered her a settlement from his commission, $20K to sign an NDA. Keep quiet about inconsistencies in my confession. She'd refused, but he'd persisted, digging into her life like a dog after bones. medical bills for her depression, the kids' truancy records. He'd weaponized their pain to pressure compliance. Sick bastard. I'd protected him from a split-second sin, and he'd spun it into a syndicate of silence. My hands flew across the keys, downloading everything to a thumb drive. Next, public records search. Illinois court database pulling Elena's obit from 2 years back. Pills,
they said.
overdose, accidental. But the tox report I'd bribed a clerk for, a crisp 20 for my release stipend, screamed intentional. Oxycodone levels off the charts. Washed down with vodka. Mark's sympathy had broken her. Rage morphed to resolve. A cold forge in my gut. I couldn't undo the past, but I could exhume it. Maria Ruiz became my North Star. Finding her was child's play. Facebook, class of 18 from Sen High. Profile pic a fierce selfie in a Black Lives Matter tee. Private message. Your dad was a good man. I wasn't the driver.
Proof attached.
Meet. She blocked me thrice before curiosity won. Our talk area summit sealing the pact. Maria lived in a third-floor walk-up on Damon. Posters of Frida Kahlo and Malcolm X peeling from plaster walls. Her brother, Tito, sprawled on a sagging couch, Xbox controller in hand. But his eyes tracked me sharp, street smart, not stupid. You look like shit, Maria said by way of hello, shoving a plate of lumpia my way. No warmth, just assessment. We ate in silence at first, the USB spinning tails on her ancient Dell. Tito paused his game, leaning in as the dashcam unspooled. Mark's slack jaw. The Tahoe's lurch. Pinch cabron, he muttered, crossing himself. Maria's face hardened, not to tears, but thunder. Mom never believed your story. Said it didn't add up, your blood alcohol was borderline. And the skid marks screamed panic. Not impairment. But the cops. They wanted a quick close. Elena's ghost hovered. Her refusal to take Mark's hush money a beacon. She fought, Maria said, voice low. Sued the city for shoddy investigation. Got nowhere. Then the letters stopped coming after she turned him down. Guess he found easier marks. We mapped the board. Civil suit for wrongful death against Mark, naming me as co-plaintiff for my false conviction. Criminal angle trickier, statute on manslaughter lapsed. But perjury had no expiration. Maria's attorney, a firebrand named Sofia Valdez from the association, took the case pro bono. This is bigger than one crash, Sofia said over Zoom, her office bookshelves groaning with tomes. It's systemic. Rich white guy skates on immigrant blood. We'll make it national. Word spread like spilled ink. Tito, fresh from Cook County lockup on a joyride beef, had cousins in the 26th Street corridor, low-level players who owed favors. They shadowed me gratis, spotting Vic Russo's town car lurking outside the warehouse. One night, after shift, it tailed me to the blue line. But Tito's boys boxed it in at the Armitage stop, a lowrider Impala nosing too close. Russo peeled out, middle finger blazing. But the message landed, back off. Mark's calls escalated. Voicemails a descent from honey to venom. Liz, this is insane. You're unraveling. Get help before you hurt someone. Hurt someone. Like I hadn't already. I saved them all. Timestamps ticking like bombs. The podcaster, Lena Voss of True North Wind, was a stroke of luck. Her handle popped in a Reddit thread on cold cases. Email pitch. Exclusive. Wrongful conviction in Gold Coast fatality. She met me in a dive-off division. All tattoos and skepticism. Nursing a PBR. Prove it, she said. Flint eyes.
I did.
Over greasy sliders. The USB sang. Lena's mic caught it live for her next EP. But she held the drop. Building hype with teasers. What if the killer walked free while the innocent rotted? Downloads spiked. Justice for Ruiz trending in Chi-Town feeds. Mark's firm, Kensington Properties, issued a denial, baseless allegations from a convicted felon, but cracks showed. A developer pulled a high-rise bid, whispers of an internal probe. Parole pressure mounted. Rodriguez hauled me in for a wellness check, her office smelling of menthol cigarettes. Hargrove, you're stirring shit. Anonymous tip says you're consorting with known gang affiliates. Tito's Inc. No doubt Vic's leak. I played dumb. Eyes downcast. Just trying to make amends.
Ma'am.
Ruiz family deserves closure. She bought half of it, but slapped on restrictions, no contact with victims' kin, weekly check-ins. Walking the tightrope. One slip from the abyss. Winter clamped down. Chicago's bite turning breath to frost. Maria and I bonded in the trenches, late nights at her place. Poring over depositions. Tito grilling Bistec while blasting Bad Bunny. She cracked jokes. Dark and dry. If Mark's the devil, you're the exorcist with a vendetta. I laughed. Rare and real. But sleep evaded. Dreams looped the crash. Thud. Shatter. Mark's snore syncing with sirens. Waking sweat-soaked. I'd traced the scar on my cheek from a Dwight Schenck fight, souvenir from a cellmate who mistook mercy for weakness. Mark flipped again, mid-December. A curveball Christmas card arriving at the halfway house. Photo of him, Jenna, and their dog in ugly sweaters. Inscription reading, thinking of you this holiday. Let's heal. Inside. A check for $10,000. Memo. Fresh start. I tore it up. But the gesture nod, penitence or ploy. Sophia subpoenaed his financials. They showed shell companies siphoning commissions. A slush fund for discreet services. Shadowhawk wasn't his only pet. A string of payoffs to clerks, reporters, even a judge's campaign. New Year's Eve. The storm broke. Lena dropped the episode at midnight. Fireworks masking the download surge. By dawn, CNN picked it up. Chicago wrongful manslaughter bombshell. Mark's phone blew. Mine too. Reporters swarming the warehouse like vultures. I ducked out the back. Maria's Impala idling. Your PO's on the line, she yelled over the din. Rodriguez. Hargrove. Stand down. Feds are involved. Obstruction of justice angle. Obstruction. Mark's masterstroke, painting my crusade as interference. Me the meddler derailing his reformed life. Vic Russo's affidavit hit the wires. Sworn statement claiming I'd coerced him for fakes. Lies. But sticky. Parole revocation hearing set for January 15th. Dwight skates yawning. I didn't crumble. Resilience. That overused word. Kicked in Carla's knitting lessons. Needle by needle. We rallied. Sophia filed an emergency injunction. Maria organized a vigil outside Mark's office. Tito's crew keeping watch. Protesters chanted. Signs reading truth over lies. Elena's photo enlarged on poster board. Mark holed up. But Jenna defected. Text to Maria. He told me everything last night. Help. The summit brewed. All Souls Eve. Mark's text was a white flag.
But I packed heat anyway.
Lake Shore Drive. Wind off the lake like God's rebuke. He stood there. Diminished. collar up against the sleet. "It's over," he said. "No fight left." Or so it seemed. Sleet turned to ice as I approached. The overlook a skid of memories, pavement scarred where David's body had bounced. Railing bent from impact. Mark's silhouette cut against the city glow. Hands jammed in pockets. No dramatics. Just a man who'd bet wrong on his own charm. I stopped 10 feet out. Glock's weight a secret anchor. Rain beating on my jacket like unshed accusations. "Here to grovel," I called, voice carrying on the gusts. He turned slow, face gaunt under sodium lamps, hollow cheeks. Eyes ringed like a raccoon's from sleepless nights. "To end it,
Liz."
clean." He pulled a folder from his coat, thick with legalese, tossing it at my feet. Pages fluttered. Sticking wet to the ground. Confession affidavit. Notarized. Admitting the drive. The sleep. The orchestration. Sign the attached NDA. And it's yours. Full recantation. Immunity for you on the perjury. Ruiz gets their payday. I nudged the folder with my boot. Reading upside down. Clauses burying us both in silence. Gag orders till kingdom come. Generous. What's the catch? No catch. Lie detector in his tone. But his eyes flicked to the tree-lean, shadows shifting. A glint of metal? Paranoia or prep? "I loved you."
Liz. This.
It's poison. For Jenna. The baby. Let me father right. What I couldn't with us. The baby. Ultrasound ghosted my mind. A life he'd build on my bones. I drew the Glock. Deliberate. Thumb flicking the safety.
Knees.
"Now." He complied, gravel biting through wool. Face upturned like a supplicant's. "Don't. Please." Think. Wind swallowed the rest. But his plea hung. Think of the consequences. The optics. The American calculus where one white-collar fall guy redeems the scales. I pressed the barrel to his temple. Cold steel kissing skin. His pulse rabbiting against it. Time stretched. Sleet a curtain muting the world. Flashback reel. Wedding dance to Wonderwall. His breath hot on my neck. Prison visits denied. His letters fading like ink in rain. Jenna's ring finger glinting in pixels. Betrayal's tapestry. Woven tight. David begged too, I said soft. For his kids. His wife. You silenced them all. Mark's lips moved. Prayer or curse. I was scared.
Young.
We both were.
Young.
32 then. Old enough for accountability. My finger whitened on the trigger. The shot a phantom echo in my head. Pop. Crumple. Sirens. Victory.
Pyrrhic.
Or mercy. Cowards out. Controversy incarnate. Gun down the betrayer. Become the villainous tabloids crave. Or holster and let courts grind slow justice. Risking his acquittal on technicals. Who wins in that divide? The betrayed. Clawing dignity from dirt. Or society. Preserving its fragile order? Headlights sliced the dark then. Twin beams pinning us like specimens. SUV crunched to a halt. Doors slamming, Jenna first. Parka zipped over her bump. Face pale but set. Maria behind. Phone thrust forward. Red record light blazing. Gotcha, Maria spat. Circling wide. Capturing Mark's kneel. My guns gleam. Tito idled the Impala across the road. Low beams back up. Jenna's voice cracked the tableau. Mark? What the hell? She'd come to broker. Lured by his midnight call. Meet at the Overlook. Bring Liz's terms, but Maria's intercept turned ambush to broadcast. Live feed to Lena's platform. Viewers spiking, 5K, 10K. Comments flooding. Shoot him. Don't, think of the child. Polarized in pixels. Mark lunged up, hands scrabbling for the gun. It's her. She's crazy. Call 911. Flip masterful. Victim now. Me the aggressor. I sidestepped. Barrel tracking. But Jenna screamed. Stop. Both of you. Her hand flew to her belly. Face ashen. Contractions?
No.
Fear's grip. Maria advanced. Phone steady. Confess. Asshole. On cam. Who drove? He froze. Calculation crashing. Audience captive. Escape nil. Sleet blurred the lens. But truth's glare cut through. I did. He choked. Knees buckling anew. Words tumbled. The drinks. The dose. Liz's lie to shield. The PI bribes to seal. I let her rot. God. Forgive me. Sobs racked him. Genuine or Grammy bait. But the feed didn't care. Viral venom. Shares exploding. Sirens keened distant. Blues flashing on the horizon. Cops inbound. Tipped by Lena's producer. I lowered the Glock, sliding it into Maria's weight. Her nod grim approval. Mark curled fetal. Rain pooling around him. Why, he gasped at me. Betrayal's mirror. Because secrets fester, I said, stepping back as cruisers skidded up, tack lights painting us in stark relief. And yours poisoned us all. The arrest was textbook. Mark cuffed gentle. Miranda recited. Jenna bundled into an ambulance for stress evaluation, false alarm. But the headlines would feast. Maria and I gave statements at the precinct, dash cams and phones, syncing the narrative. Tito peeled out before questions turned sticky. His role, moral support. By dawn, bail hearing loomed. But the evidence dam, affidavit, footage, payoffs, nailed him tight. Backlash hit like a nor'easter. Mark's allies lawyered up, spinning coerced confession under duress, me the gun-toting harpy. Tabloids split, Sun-Times hailed, vigilante justice triumph, Tribune decried, mob mentality in the Me Too era. Team Liz trended with free mark counters, feminists versus bros in comment wars. Controversial core, was my standoff empowerment or extortion? Had I forced redemption? Or just lit the match? Sophia navigated the maelstrom. Injunctions flying. Ruiz suit amended. My false imprisonment tacked on, 7 years at $100,000 per, plus punitive. Mark's assets frozen. The Lincoln Park condo. Door County getaway. Offshore slush. Jenna filed divorce Dawn 2. Custody battle brewing. But she reached out via Maria. Thank you. For making him face it. No forgiveness for me. But a bridge.
Tentative.
Parole board reconvened January 20th. Rodriguez escorting me to a sterile room in Springfield. Panel of suits. Faces carved from granite. MS. Hargrove, the chair intoned. Your actions border vigilantism. Explain. I did. Voice level, the crash. The cover. The unearthing. Exhibits proffered, affidavit. Stream transcript. Elena's obit. I sought truth. Not vengeance. Justice delayed is justice denied. MLK quote. Carla's favorite, it landed soft. But the viral wave helped, petitions with 50K sigs. Maria's testimony via video, She gave us our father's honor back. Verdict: continued supervision, but restrictions lifted. Commendable initiative, the chair allowed. A crack in the facade. Walking out. Sunlight slanting off the dome. I breathed free. First real gulp since the Tahoe's grill buckled. Rebuild phase dawned uneasy. Settlement wired March. $750,000 for Ruiz. $400,000 for me after fees. Maria banked hers for Northwestern Law. Tito a trade school welding cert, clean break from the streets. I bolted Chicago. The city's pulse too frantic. Landing in Milwaukee's east side. Third floor, one bed over a bookstore. Rent $900. View of Lake Michigan's moody blues. Job hunt yielded restoration at the Central Library. Mending spines. Digitizing yellowed pages. Irony in preserving what time tears. Days quiet. Gluing folios. Inhaling musty peace. Nights. AA meetings in church basements. Coffee bitter as regret. No mark shadows. But ghosts lingered. Dreams of the trigger's curl. David's face unpixelated. Elena's pill bottle rattling. Twist uncoiled summer solstice subtle. Jenna's email. Forwarded through Sophia. DNA results, subject line. Mark's appeal hinged on paternity, claiming the baby's not his. Dodging child support. But the report? Positive match. His ploy. Last flip. Fake the test. Smear her as the cheater. Salvage his narrative. Exposed in court. It tanked his case. Judge citing pattern of deceit, bumping sentence to 20. He wrote from Stateville. First letter in years. You were right. I was always the weak link. Triumph's yours. Live it for both of us. I burned it. Ashes scattering on the lake walk. But the word stuck. Unexpected. That olive branch from the abyss. Maria visited July 4th. Fireworks popping over the harbor. We grilled brats on my tiny balcony. Tito tagging along. Fresh ink, a welding torch instead of tags. You're a legend now, she teased. Clinking beers. Podcasts won your book deal. I laughed. Milwaukee's lights winking. Nah. Stories like ours? Better left half told. Resilience. Not spotlight. But twice destroyed lingered. The accident stole innocence, revenge, naivety. In quiet moments, I traced the cross's ribbons in memory, red, white, blue. America's colors tangled. Was triumph the win? Or surviving to question it? Readers debate. Hero or anti? I choose both. Scars and all. Milwaukee settled like a soft fog. Its breweries and bike paths a balm to Chicago's jagged edge. Mornings, I jogged the Oak Leaf Trail. Pounding pavement past Rust Belt relics, abandoned factories reclaimed by vines. Echoes of lives derailed. My scars itch less here. The Glock long surrendered to evidence lockers. Its ghost weight lifted. But freedom's a tricky beast. It whispers what-ifs in the wind off the lake. Library work suited. A rhythm of repair. Fragile manuscripts from the '48 flood. Civil War letters ink faded to whispers. Coworkers kept distance at first. Google's a snitch. My name pinging ex-con vigilante. But Betty, the head conservator, a wiry widow with horn rims, broke the ice over lunchroom jello. Heard your tale, she said one Tuesday. No judgment. Reminds me of Gatsby, chasing green lights. Only to find rot. We bonded over pulp novels. Her recommending Hammett's Hard-Boiled Dames. Me sharing Dwight yarns sanitized for daylight. Betty pushed me to community college, Milwaukee area tech. Night classes in archival science. Rebuild the spine, she'd quip, taping a torn page. Enrolled fall term. Backpack slung with secondhand books. Me at 35 playing freshman. Awkward, but alive, discussing Foucault with 20-somethings. My past a footnote they Googled post-lecture. Mark's trial dragged into autumn. A media circus telecast from Cook County. I watched snippets on library public access, him in orange jumpsuit. Thinner. Preaching redemption to the bench. A fatal accident redefined me, heating tone. Voice steady for the cameras. Psych eval painted him sociopath-light, charming manipulator. Low empathy. Prosecutors hammered the pattern. Not just David, but Pryor's, a fudged college app. Embezzled from his first firm. A mistress paid off Prius. Jenna testified remote. Voice warbling. He confessed the crash. Begged forgiveness. But the lies. They never stopped. Verdict October 15th. Guilty across the board. Manslaughter reinstated. Perjury. Evidence tampering. 20 years. Minimum 15. No tears from the gallery. Maria's glare could curdle milk. Post-sentencing. He appealed on duress grounds. My gun at the Overlook coerced the cam confession. Judge slapped it down. Voluntary disclosure. Corroborated by preponderance. Mic drop. Fallout rippled. Kensington properties folded. Execs scattering like roaches. Vic Russo flipped state's evidence for immunity. Spilling on a dozen discrete jobs. Corporate espionage. Celeb dirt. Shadowhawk shuddered. IRS audit circling. Justice for Ruiz morphed to hold them accountable. Birthing a foundation. Elena Ruiz Memorial Fund. Maria at the helm. Scholarships for immigrant kids. Legal aid for wrongfuls. She keynote at a UIC symposium. Me in the crowd. Anonymous applause. Our paths crossed holidays. Thanksgiving at her mom's new place in Berwyn. Tito carving turkey with welding calloused hands. Elena's absence a hollow at the table. But stories filled it. Her laugh. Her lumpia recipe tweaked spicier each telling. To Mom, Maria toasted, eyes dry. And Liz, our accidental avenger. Laughter. Warm as gravy. Jenna faded to footnotes. Divorce finalized. Baby boy named David Mark, honor and anchor. She relocated to Madison. Teaching yoga. Last email a thank you card with blurry ultrasound readings. Healing's nonlinear, she wrote. Yours too. I framed it. Tucked in a drawer, not forgiveness, but truce. Twist's tail wagged winter. Mark's second letter. Postmarked Stateville. No grovel. But raw. Turns out the baby's mine. Test confirmed. Jenna's suing for back support, but the judge froze at pending appeals. Funny.
Huh?
My freedom dream. Bankrupting me from bars. Enclosed. A dog-eared photo. Him and me at our wedding. Her veil caught mid-toss. We were good once. Sorry I broke it. I didn't burn this one. Taped it to my fridge. A relic of what was, what couldn't be. Spring thawed resilience's roots. Graduated MATC with honors. Betty throwing a bash at Lake Park Bistro, bratwurst and Bach. Polka band wheezing roll out the barrel. Maria flew in.
Tito too.
Toast sloshing. To spines mended. Job offer followed. Junior archivist at the Wisconsin Historical Society. Salary enough for a down payment on a bungalow in Bayview. Shotgun style. Porch swing creaking welcomes. Nights quieted. AA a habit not crutch. Shared my story there once. Circle of nods under folding chairs. The crash. The cage. The gun's temptation. Resilience isn't absence of break, I said, echoing Carla's wisdom. It's the glue. A vet with PTSD clapped slow. A teen meth head murmured. Badass. David's cross came down Memorial Day. Maria's foundation erecting a proper plaque. Bench by the drive. Engraved in memory. Endurance over error. We gathered me. Ruiz kin. Even Jenna with toddler David toddling grass.
No speeches.
Just silence. Lake lapping like absolution. I traced the letters. Chill bumps rising. One fatal accident. Twice the wreckage. But triumph? In the mending. Years blurred. Promotion to lead conservator. Maria's law degree and clerkship at the ACLU. Tito's welding shop in Pilsen thriving. Mark paroled early on good behavior. 2035. Gray at the temples. A decade's debt hanging. He reached out via intermediary. Coffee? Neutral ground. I declined, but sent a book, Capote's in cold blood, inscribed, Truth's the real killer. Live yours. Current date stamps it, December 3rd, 2025. I'm 40. Lines etching laugh as much as loss. Milwaukee's snow dusting my commute. Stories end? Open. Like a half-read tome. The accident destroyed youth. Trust. Mercy. But resilience rebuilt. Alliances forged in fire. Secrets aired to light. Unexpected triumph, not vengeance's blaze, but quiet dawn after. Debate lingers. As it should. Was I right? Gun drawn? Avenger or abuser? Mark's monster or David's due? No absolutes in America's gray. Betrayals deep. Flips frantic. Decisions divisive. I choose the bench. The bench's view. Waves rolling endless. Scars silver in sun. One life. Twice spent. Unbowed.